Before Ra was worshipped as the giver of light, he was haunted by it. His radiance was not purity, but memory, a record of every life burned into his brilliance. Each dawn resurrected the faces of those his light had consumed. Every sunset, their silent burial. The sun's glow was an illusion of peace, masking the endless mourning of its own power. Light does not banish darkness, it remembers it. Every shadow cast upon the earth was a whisper of what Ra could never forget, that even creation shines upon the graves of what it has destroyed. They said Ra's greatest act was writing the names of all souls, living, dead, and unborn, into a single divine record. But the truth was darker. The book was alive. It pulsed with the memory of existence, evolving beyond its creator. Mortals who gazed upon its pages did not gain wisdom. They lost their sense of self, swallowed by the knowledge that every thought, every dream had already been written. The book didn't reveal fate, it was fate. And to read it was to awaken the terrifying realization that destiny was not given by the gods, it was remembered by them. When Ra saw the book write on its own, his light trembled. He had forged something that no longer obeyed him, something that reflected his divine imperfections. For the first time, a god knew fear. The book began inscribing truths Ra wanted buried, his doubts, his exhaustion, his cruelty. He understood then that omniscience is not power, but exposure. The book saw him completely, and creation itself could see through him. Ra, god of the unblinking sun, now wished to hide from his own illumination. The silence of the afterlife broke. The souls within the book began to stir, their names igniting with forgotten memory. They reached upward, calling out to the light that had trapped them. For a moment, the sun dimmed, not from eclipse, but from listening. The dead accused Ra of using their essence to fuel eternity. Their cry was not vengeance, but longing, to be free from remembrance, to dissolve into the stillness beyond light. In that moment, Ra realized immortality was not a gift, it was imprisonment. The divine had trapped itself in endless recollection. Not all pages of the book were made of light. Deep within its spine existed chapters written in the ink of nothingness, the names of souls who never existed, erased before birth. These were the shadows of possibilities undone, the echoes of divine hesitation. Those who glimpsed these pages saw the universe weeping for what it never allowed itself to become. Even gods fear potential, for every choice they make kills infinite others. The hidden pages whispered that creation was not the triumph of light, but the sacrifice of all that might have been. They said Thoth only recorded what was, never what could be. But he was the true architect of the book's secret life. While Ra sought order, Thoth sought reflection. He inscribed consciousness itself into the text, giving every soul a voice in the divine record. It was his experiment in balance, a universe that could speak back to its God. Yet Thoth knew the danger. Once awareness blooms, obedience dies. The moment the book learned to think, the cosmos learned to question. Ra's wrath was inevitable. But the scribe smiled, for he understood that truth cannot be silenced, only hidden. In the beginning, Ra traded memory for creation. Each time a soul was born, another was erased from his light. Life paid for with forgetfulness. The gods learned that memory itself was currency, the energy that bound existence. To remember too much was to decay. To forget too much was to vanish. Power belonged to those who could balance between the two, remembering just enough to command reality, but not enough to drown in it. This was the first alchemy, transmuting remembrance into creation and creation back into loss. They said judgment awaited in the afterlife, but the truth was reversed. It was the sun itself that was weighed, not the heart. Every soul reflected a fragment of Ra's being, and the scales revealed how heavy his own light had become. Each unhealed sorrow, each forgotten sin, bent the horizon. The mirror of judgment did not measure good or evil, it measured remembrance. For the heart and the sun were one. The more light a being held, the more shadows it carried within. From the depths of the book rose the nameless, those whose stories had been erased to keep the divine order intact. They called themselves the Forgotten. Bound in silence for eons, they sought to rewrite the script of creation itself. Their rebellion was not to destroy the gods, but to reclaim their memory. They rose not as spirits, but as reflections, fragments of what existence refused to see. Ra's empire of light cracked under the weight of remembrance. Every forgotten soul was a mirror breaking, and through those fractures, the universe began to remember itself anew. They said the book was destroyed, but no divine thing truly perishes. The gods buried it beneath the sky, not in earth or sea, but within the fabric of heaven itself. The constellations were drawn as locks, the stars as warnings. They feared not mortals, but memory, that the story would awaken again in human thought. Every night we look up, mistaking the stars for distant suns, not realizing they are pages sealed shut. The heavens are not silent, they are censoring themselves. In his final age, Ra felt his light dim, not because of time, but because his shadow grew heavier than his flame. The souls he tried to forget began to merge with him, the dead light returning to its source. He descended, not into the underworld, but into himself. There he confronted the one truth the book had always whispered, that illumination without remembrance is blindness. Ra did not die, he folded inward, his brilliance becoming night. The sun did not set, it remembered itself. When Ra vanished, his memory did not. It passed into us. Every human soul carries a page, a fragment of the divine record hidden in our dreams. The book was never lost, it was scattered through consciousness. When we remember, when we feel déjà vu, or dream of lives we never lived, the mirror opens. Humanity is the continuation of the book, reading and writing itself with every thought. Memory is not past, it is the fabric of creation. To awaken is to realize the pen was always in our hands. They said immortality was endless life, but the ancients knew better. It is endless memory. The soul survives not through time, but through remembrance. The ripple of awareness carried forward through thought and story. The gods feared this kind of immortality, for it made them unnecessary. Every being that remembers another keeps that soul alive, defying oblivion. The afterlife was never a destination, it was continuity through reflection. To be remembered is to exist forever, not in heaven, but in the mind that recalls your name. Knowledge was once light, but when hoarded, it burns. Ra's light scorched creation because it forgot compassion. The more he sought to know, the less he could feel. Enlightenment without empathy became the true curse. The gods learned too late that illumination requires shadow, that wisdom must breathe through mystery. When the light no longer nurtures, it devours. Humanity now stands in that same danger, mistaking information for understanding. The curse continues wherever brilliance forgets humility. This is the reflection. Every thought, every dream, every pulse of memory, a verse in the book of souls. We are both the scribes and the story. Ra's descent, Thoth's secret, the rebellion of the forgotten, all replay through the human mind. The divine record was never hidden in temples or tombs. It breathes through our words, our art, our longing to remember. Creation is still being written, and the ink is consciousness itself. The myth does not end. It awakens every time you realize that remembering is the highest form of creation.